Welcome, welcome. This is Dr. Karmon Sears, and I'm welcoming you to the Bradenton Best Life podcast talk. Today, we are going to talk about loving through the chaos. This is an evidence-based way to support your partner who has. So do me a favor, share me out, let other people know that this content is out here. Give me a like or a thumbs up and comment in the comments below whether or not you're catching us live or on the replay. So let's get into today's topic, as that is part of our blog post on BradentonBestLifeCounseling.com. You can also catch us on at Bradenton_best_life_counseling on Instagram. So what is this all about, and why am I talking to you about it? I want to talk to you about some things that are common in individuals sitting in front of myself or my business partner who does couples and family counseling. I often see people where one partner has attention deficit disorder and the other does not. I see the dynamics of how this plays out in relationships. The non-ADHD partner often feels lonely, overwhelmed, and resentful. Meanwhile, the partner with ADD feels constantly criticized, misunderstood, and inadequate. This dynamic is incredibly common, but it's highly treatable. I'm going to repeat that. It's incredibly common to have this dynamic, but it's also highly treatable. ADHD is not a behavioral flaw or a lack of willpower, as some people seem to pigeonhole it. It is a structural neurodevelopmental difference in our brains executive functioning system. So what the heck are you talking about, Dr. Karmon? What is an executive functioning system? I like to say that the executive functioning system is right here in the frontal lobe. It is your executive assistant, your administrative assistant who makes sure that your schedule is kept, makes sure that you return phone calls, make sure that all the tasks and projects are prioritized and planned out. People with ADD or ADHD, attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, have no executive assistant. So things are disordered. So they do forget to do things. They may forget appointments. They may not get things prioritized appropriately. And if something else comes along, they get easily distracted by the shiny new thing. So that's a simplified version of what executive functioning does. It is also important to note that that is also the area of the brain that helps to regulate emotion. And if that area is, for lack of a better word, broken, not functioning optimally, yeah, that's a better phrase, not functioning optimally, then it becomes much more difficult to manage your emotions, and you may be more sensitive to frustration or have a lower frustration tolerance. So that's a big overview of executive dysfunction and frontal lobe function. But when you understand the science behind your partner's brain, you can shift from a dynamic of frustration to one of collaboration. Here's an evidence-based roadmap for you supporting your partner while protecting your relationship. The first one is de-escalate the parent-child dynamic. You may not have had that label for it, but listen up. This may be exactly what you've been going through. This is the most destructive pattern in neurodiverse relationships. This occurs when the non-ADHD partner takes on all the household management, tracking tasks, and reminding the ADHD partner, while the ADHD partner begins to view them as a nagging parent figure. So They're taking on all these things to remind the ADHD partner what they need to do, where they need to be, etc. But the ADHD partner sees it as nagging and kind of, you're not my mom. You're not my dad. Why are you treating me like that? So the science side of things says that this dynamic erodes sexual attraction and emotional intimacy. I'm not going to be very attracted to you if you're treating me like you're my father, if you're treating me like I'm a child, and I'm not going to feel safe enough to be emotionally vulnerable, which is required for emotional intimacy. Research shows that a healthy adult relationship requires mutual respect and equality. So what's the shift in this case? Stop managing your partner. Instead of tracking their chores, schedule a weekly logistical meeting where both of you sit down together with a shared calendar to divide tasks equitably. So there are many options available to share a schedule, whether you share a physical schedule somewhere prominent in the home that you both have to pass frequently, or you're sharing digital calendars. There are many opportunities for that as well. You can share a Google Calendar. You can share many other calendars that are available in the App Store. Your phone, if it is Apple, has a calendar. You can also do a family calendar on the iCalendar. I'm assuming, although I don't know for sure, you should be able to do the same thing with Android devices. So let's move on to number 2, externalize time and tasks. The ADHD brain struggles with working memory. What is working memory? That is your ability to take in information, manipulate it, and to perform some kind of operation. So taking in what is missing in your refrigerator, in your pantry, and putting it together in a shopping list to go shopping and replenish your supplies. That might be one thing. Taking in, if you are tasked with doing the family budget or the monthly shopping and paying the bills, what bills need to be paid? When do they need to be paid? What money do we have currently on the time schedule to pay those bills? So first of the month things, middle of the month things, end of the month things, how are we doing that? But I have to be able to take in that information that we've got X amount of dollars in the bank account and we may have, YZ amount of money going out to pay these bills. And how do we manage that so we're not falling short? That's an example of working memory. So the ADHD brain struggles with working memory and time blindness. Time blindness is the inability to gauge how much time has passed or how long a task will take. Again, trying to externalize things. There are AI devices, apps that you can use, like the Goblin tools. Microsoft has one through 365 or Copilot. You can even talk to Chat GPT or one of the other AI apps like Gemini or Claude to also word vomit all of the things that you have to do in a week, prioritize those things and when they're due or when you have to have them finished by. And you can ask, if you're in Goblin Tools, how much time would it take to do this task? If you're using like the hello function in Microsoft and possibly in Copilot, you can also tell them all the things you have to do this week or all the projects that are due this week. And it can help you put them on your calendar on a daily basis or a weekly basis so that you get those chunks of tasks done and they can give you the time block. So for instance, you could say, Claude, I have to make sure that as a caregiver, I get my person showered this week by Wednesday. And I have to make sure that They have enough time to get dressed to go to 2 doctor's appointments this week, one on Tuesday and one on Thursday. Help me to make an agenda for the week based on that. And it's going to take me a half an hour to get to doctor appointment A and 45 minutes to an hour to get to doctor appointment B. How much time should I leave to get to the appointment in time enough to do the opening paperwork and update my doctor's things, etc.? And it will give you all of that information in a way that works for you. So again, that's to help you deal with your time blindness. So you can see how detailed it can be, and expecting your partner with ADD to remember verbal requests is a recipe for failure. You're setting yourself up for failure and them because, again, distractibility. They have all the tabs open on the computer screen, which slows down the working memory, that background memory that keeps everything going. So they can only take in or process so much information and manipulate it, or it's going to slip through the cracks. The science behind it is cognitive behavioral strategies for ADHD that emphasize externalizing information. Because internal reminders fail, the environment must do the reminding for them. So again, visual cueing, so that you have visual and auditory cueing. If you're going to put reminder alarms, this is the time to start this activity, or you need to leave the house by this time to make it to appointment A, and by that time to make it to appointment B, which was the one that was going to be further out. The shift is to stop giving verbal honey-do lists. Use shared digital apps like Todoist or Trello, a prominent whiteboard in the kitchen, and use phone alarms. As I said, those reminder alarms. If it isn't visible, it doesn't exist. So things have to be out and in the open. Same thing goes if your loved one is a UHD, which is autism spectrum plus ADHD or ADD. Again, there can be some time blindness related to that if they've got no visual cues to help them stay on track with what they need to do. Number 3, practice body doubling. So when initiating a boring task, this is very neurologically painful for someone with ADHD due to deficiency in dopamine baseline levels. So part of the medication management of ADHD is that it ups those dopamine levels so people can stay a little bit more steady state and on task. Body doubling is a well-documented productivity strategy where the presence of another person helps anchor the ADHD brain, reducing distraction and anxiety during tasks. So during COVID, there was a lot of body doubling. One, because we couldn't meet in person. Some people do the body doubling online through Zoom and other apps. You can do some body doubling in person with your partner as well. So you make the shift for your partner who is struggling to fold laundry or clean the garage. Don't just walk away. Sit in the room with them while they are reading a book or while you're tackling your own chores or your own projects on the computer. Your quiet presence acts as a cognitive anchor for your ADHD partner. Number 4, master the art of dopamine-rich communication. Again, as I said in the previous section, medication helps to increase the dopamine in your partner's brain so that they can stay more on task and be less inattentive or distracted. People with ADHD often experience rejection sensitivity dysphoria, where they have intense, overwhelming emotional pain triggered by perceived criticism or rejection. Your ADHD partner may feel like, I never do it right. I can't do it to your specifications. I'm trying the best I can. I just can't. And then now they're getting overwhelmed and feeling really upset, distressed, anxious, sad, frustrated. Again, that low frustration tolerance can come with the ADHD as part of this rejection syndrome. So if you make the shift to approach your partner not with anger, then their brain switches from fight or flight mode and will stop shutting down. So it's like you're just going to talk them to death about all the things that they did wrong. They're going to shut down. They're going to get into fight or flight mode where, their adrenaline is up, their cortisol stress hormone is up, and all they want to do is fight or flee from the situation. This is not conducive to healthy communication with your ADHD partner. The science says what you need to do instead is positive reinforcement triggers for the dopamine to increase, which is exactly what your ADHD partner's brain needs to regulate attention and behavior. Criticism triggers cortisol, which worsens ADHD symptoms. So again, the shift in this case is to catch them doing things right. Praise the things they finish, no matter how small. When you need to address a problem, use a sandwich mentality. So what do I mean by sandwich mentality? The sandwich mentality or sandwich feedback is you start with a compliment. That's the first slice of bread. Hey, I see that you finished cleaning the kitchen and the bathrooms. That felt so great. Thank you so much for getting that done. And then you might state a specific need. However, I really needed your help with decorating the house for this house party that we're throwing. Sandwich it with the compliment about the task that they did complete, dropping the car off for daily or monthly, whatever maintenance, and then picking you up once that was done. That could be one thing. So that's the compliment. You really made it easy for me to get my car maintenance today by remembering to pick me up from the mechanic. But what I really need now is to also bring me a lunch because I have a tight schedule and I need to get to work right after I get to the office. I'm not going to have time to pick anything up for lunch. Then end with reassurance of your love. I love how you're, showing up for us and, how you're able to pivot and help to share the load of the household tasks or whatever it is that you've been needing them to do more of. Number 5, encourage professional multimodal treatment. So you can't be your partner's therapist, coach, or doctor. Boundaries are essential for your own mental health. So going back to the first tip, to break that parent-child dynamic, you also don't want to be their therapist or their coach, their ADHD coach. They need somebody who's a qualified psychotherapist, licensed mental health counselor, or perhaps you need an ADHD coach to help your partner manage both at work and at home. Those are the things that can take that dynamic out and allow you to be partners with each other and on a more equal basis so they can get educated about how to manage their own ADHD behaviors and feel supported by you when you help them to implement some of the recommendations and behavioral shifts that are made by the coach or the therapist. The science says that clinical consensus shows that the most effective treatment for adult ADHD is multimodal, more than one method combined with medication to balance the brain chemistry and ADHD specific cognitive behavioral therapy or coaching to build behavioral systems. What's the shift though, Dr. Karmon? The shift is to gently encourage your partner to seek specialized care. Offer to help them research ADHD coaches or psychiatrist appointments if they find the administrative hurdle too overwhelming to start. So I hope that these tips have been helpful for you. If they have been, or if they make sense, put some blue hearts in the comments and let me know that that is working for you. Also, don't forget to share this, because if it helped you and made sense to you, there are probably other people around you who need this information as well. And I would like you to share that out. So how do you move forward together? I'm going to give you a couple of tasks to help you move forward together. Supporting your partner with ADHD requires shifting your personal perspective from why won't they just do it to how can we build a system that works for my partner, that works with their ADHD brain. You are fighting the symptoms, not each other. So make the shift from fighting the symptoms and getting frustrated with your partner and getting on board and partnering with them to manage their ADHD symptoms better. So I also have another ask of you to help me tailor more specific advice or resources for loving through the chaos when you have an ADHD partner. Please let me know, one, what specific ADHD symptoms cause the most friction in your relationship right now. Two, have you two already tried any organizational tools or systems together? And three, is your partner currently receiving any professional treatment like therapy or medication? I also want to add that you can drop survey in the comments. We are doing a survey currently to make our Loving Through the Chaos webinar or intensive for couples more specific to the top 3 or 4 symptoms that you guys have. So it is a longer survey specific to the kinds of problems that you may have when your partner has ADHD and you do not. So if you drop survey, we will send you the survey to complete. It's completely anonymous, but we need to keep track of which of those symptoms are more problematic so that we can tailor our program to address those issues. You can also drop Loving Through Chaos intensive in the comments if you might be interested and want to be put on a wait list for that. This is a intensive that is separate from psychotherapy. So if you are in psychotherapy now or have need of somebody to kind of help you work together better, you would be able to do this. It's not insurance based. It won't conflict with that. I won't be officially your therapist. It is a workshop for loving through the chaos and helping you create some systems at home to help you guys be more equal partners and to better support your partner so that is not disruptive to your relationship. So again, thank you for your time, and remember to share us out. We come here once a week, usually on Thursdays, to educate you about mental health issues and how to live your best life. And again, everybody is different, but we're striving for your personal best life. So if there are other topics you'd like us to cover in here, please drop that down in the comments below as well. And I will see you on the other side.